Matthew here from miniwargaming.com, bringing you another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. Today, we're going to be playing another 1,500 point game. It's going to be Cam versus me, of course. And Cam has brought Warriors of Chaos, and I have brought my Tomb Kings. Now, I have changed my army since the last battle report, which I just actually did last night. So I'm not sure how these will be spaced once we get them all posted, but those games were like one day after another. And I've decided to go a more magic-heavy army, but it turns out Cam also has a magic-heavy army. So what that probably means is there will be no magic, as I cast, he dispels, and then he casts, I dispel. So it's one of the things I'm not a big fan of with Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you're a member of the Vault, there is a pre-game show that has been put up in the Vault already. Make sure you go and watch that. If you're not a member of the Vault, you can try it out for 7 days for only 99 cents. I think you're going to love it. So try it out. We'll put a link right below here to that trial. Let's take a look at the armies as well as the deployment, and let's just jump right into the game.
Let's start off by taking a look at Cam's Warriors of Chaos. Remember, this is 1,500 points. The funny thing is we both decided to go magic heavy, so you're going to see that in his list as well as mine. He's got quite a few Warriors of Chaos we have going on here, so let's take a look at some of the individual units that he has. The first one, and I apologize, I do not remember the name of this, but it is his general, and it's a level 1 sorcerer, or level 1 wizard. He'll be providing some backup magic. And then we've got a level 4 sorcerer. This is the heavy hitter, the one that costs a lot of points. And that little thing beside him gives him +1 to his magic rolls, or actually gives him an extra die in the power dice pool. We've got a group of 5 Chaos Knights. They're quite difficult to hurt. And we've got a group of Warriors of Chaos with a banner, and another group of Warriors of Chaos with a banner. These all have the mark of Khorne. And we have a large group of Marauders that he's hoping to use as a tar pit, because these ones have the Stubborn special rule, which basically means that they get no modifiers to the leadership in close combat. Then we've got the... oh, what is this called? This is the War something. Somebody type below in the comments what that is. I apologize, I actually forgot off the top of my head what it is. My Tomb Kings now. Here we have another 1,500 points. It's somewhat familiar from the last game, but it does have some differences as well. You can see already with the chariots and the regular guys. This is a Tomb Prince rather than a Tomb King. So he is not the lord, but he is the general. And we've got a Lich Priest right here, and we've got another Lich Priest right here. The one on the horseback is a Lich High Priest, and he's a level 4 wizard. The other one's a level 2 wizard. We've got a group of 50 regular warriors, upgraded with light armor and a full command, and 6 chariots with a full command. So, other than that, to replace what we had before, we have a Necro Sphinx. This is a 220 some odd point unit, and hopefully it'll do lots of damage. And we've got a Screaming Skull Catapult to provide some fire support. So we'll see how this works out. I realize it might not be the most solid of lists, but I wanted to try out a couple new units to see what would happen with them. So in deployment, we rolled off, and I believe Cam gets to go first, and we go back and forth. But it's pretty straightforward. He's just putting his units in the middle, preparing with a flank. And I'm going to do something very similar. I'm hoping with the same strategy to move my Tomb King Skeleton Warriors up the middle of the battlefield with the chariots just slightly behind them. The chariots do have the magic banner that gives them +1 in their movement, so they're actually able to charge 9 inches plus 2d6. They do have swift stride, so you roll 3d6, taking your best 2, hopefully getting them into a charge whenever I want. And so he's got his main group of Marauders in the middle, and there's 2 groups of Warriors on the side. My Screaming Skull Catapult will stay nice and far behind. He's putting his Chaos Knights on my right flank. I'm putting my Necro Sphinx on his right flank, and hopefully what we'll see here is my Warriors charge in the middle, and the Necro Sphinx and the Chariots provide support from either side. And then he's got his Chaos War Shrine, I believe that's what it's called. It's the War Shrine on the other flank. So pretty straightforward army formation with the huge group of 50 warriors in the middle to provide my tar pit. And he's got, of course, on his flanks he has his strong units with the War Shrine and also with the Chaos Knights, with everything else in the middle preparing for the charge. If you can't tell, that's usually what the formations end up being, because the charge, it has to be really solid and get lots of hits in order to be able to win the game. We roll off, I do get first turn. So we start off, I just move my Skeleton Warriors forward, and I move my Chariots up a bit, keeping them a little far behind. And I move up my Priests just to stay in support. And I also move up my Necro Sphinx, he flies. we had pre-measured everything, just in case you're wondering why you don't see a tape. We roll for power dice. I get 5, he gets 2. I managed to get the spell off where I get the extra movement. Not too big a deal at this point of the game because it also heals everybody, but nobody's hurt. So you're seeing my guys get a second move after the magic phase, which is nice. It helps me to get a little better into position, and it allows me to move a little further. In retrospect, I should have turned this guy to face completely forward so he could charge whoever he wants. Firing is in the shoot phase. From the chariots, managed to inflict no wounds, and then the Screaming Skull catapult fires and misfires. Luckily, well, the result of that is not destroying the Tomb King skeleton or the Screaming Skull catapult, but he does not get to fire this turn or next turn, so it makes him much, much less powerful. In response, he's basically just marching up his entire army. Nothing too crazy here. Obviously, he's not really in charge range yet. And he moves his guys up into charge range, realizing I probably will get the charge off, but he's hoping that his guys will be resilient enough to be able to take that. He does have a higher initiative, and he's stronger for the most part than I am. Moves everybody up. He moves his sorcerer over to the one flank, and he moves his war shrine up to prepare as well. This is where I realized I should have had the Necrosphinx pointing forward. The magic phase is very uneventful. I dispel everything he attempts, so we're not going to bother to show any of that. End of round 1, we take a look at the board. Really, we're all just getting into position. You can see my Necrosphinx in the one flank, and my Chariot's getting ready in the other, but he does have his Knights, so this is going to be difficult, because if I charge his Knights, then that kind of gives up that whole strategy. But at the same time, his Knights are facing the wrong direction, so if I charge through, his Knights will not be able to charge back. Not until a round after next. So we're going to have to see how this all works out. Hopefully everybody makes their charge, and we get nice solid attacks in. That is the end of round 1, so I want you to take a look at this, take a look at our army list, take a look at the first round, and post below who you think is going to win, and then go ahead and watch round 2 to see if you're right.
Visit miniwargaming.com to see our videos 1 month early!